Mike Gaskins is one of the directors at the El Toro Water District, and we always welcome him in. Always has good information about where we're getting our water, what we're spending for water, and conservation, and all that kind of stuff. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much for having us again. I appreciate it.
So this is going to be a big day on budget, finances, and what you're doing with the monies and how it's working, right? So want to jump right in?
Absolutely. Want to point out that El Toro Water District is a public agency. Mm-hmm. There's no profit to be made here. We're completely transparent. We have an excellent website if you haven't ever gone to it, etwd.com. It's real hard to remember. And we have a really good newsletter. So a lot of the material that we'll be presenting here and you can follow up with is in that newsletter. And we're really about public involvement, public notification. We work hard on that.
Now, water districts, sometimes other things like that, they sometimes don't get all the attention from the public, but it's one of those things that comes into every single person's home, and it's everywhere, and it's so important.
Absolutely. I've been in the water industry in and out for a number of years, and I would argue reasonably that the industry has done more to preserve human lifespan, time, and public health than anything medicine's ever done, because we prevent the spread of diseases.
Right.
And we control it. We provide quality drinking water that's safe to drink. There are a lot of places in this world you turn on the tap and you can't drink the water out of it.
Right.
And here, absolutely, with impunity. And we take away the waste, and we take care of it in an environmentally responsible place, at the same time conserving the resource. So we have a multi-thing.
So let's talk a little about budget, financial objectives that you guys have. What are some of the requirements you have just to operate as a public agency?
Well, as a water district, we have water, drinking water that comes in. We have wastewater, and we also have reclaimed water. And a lot of the landscaping here in Laguna Woods is irrigated with reclaimed water, and we would like to expand our sources, but there's always a cost-benefit analysis that has to be done on that. So we have to have enough money to cover our capital investments, and we've got a few big ones coming up. We've got to pay debt service because we have incurred debt in order to build the treatment plant, the water reclamation plant, to put a new cover on the R6 reservoir fairly recently, and to invest in the Baker water treatment plant in conjunction with some of our neighboring agencies, which does save us money.
Okay, and you guys are not, just so people understand, this is a public agency, it's not for profit, so it's not like you guys are looking at the bottom line and looking for your shareholders to be paid off. This is just, you're doing what it costs to make sure water is delivered to homes.
Right, today and in the future.
There we go. All right, and you also have, what are some of like the components, like you said, you mentioned the components, debt service and all those things. So what's the spending this coming year, the next fiscal year?
It looks like $40.6 million.
Wow, okay.
And unfortunately, that's going to necessitate an increase in rates. And we'll talk about exactly what the impact of that increase is. And what has happened in the past is because the boards have been sensitive to limited incomes, fixed incomes, et cetera, they have limited the amount of increases in the past and made up for that out of reserves. So our reserves are beginning down to get critical. Rebuilding our reserves is an important part of starting this year for this budget.
Right, and that's an important thing. And one thing people might say, well, we had so much rain this year and all these things, but El Toro Water District really doesn't source from the ground, right? We don't. Most of the water that we get comes from other locations.
All of it comes from either Metropolitan Water District, Colorado, or Northern California, or from the Baker treatment plant, which is, again, I mentioned that's up but near Laguna Hills City Hall, and we get treated water out of that. But it's an ironic situation for years, especially during the drought. We told you not to use water. Well, we make money by selling you water.
Right.
So here, don't buy my product. And,
Yeah,
and everybody
there's
listened.
there's that balance of conservation, but you also need to have the funds coming in for people using the water. So
It is, and we have reclaimed water, and we do sell that for less than the cost of the potable water for the irrigation, and so that is a good thing. But again, with all the rain that's coming, why bother to irrigate with artificial sources?
right, yeah, that's a good point there too. So we purchase water here at the district, but you also have labor costs and operations, things like that, right?
Labor is probably the largest single cost. We've taken a significant, we have several employees leaving us this year through retirements or moving on to someone else. So we have 3 positions that we're not going to refill out of 62. So that's a significant cut there on the labor costs, but they're still our largest single.
And there's power, it's a power intensive industry, right? To treat this water and get it out to the homes, it takes a lot of electricity, it takes a lot of cost
Completely
there.
at the mercy of Edison. And we work everything we can do to get energy off peak and move things around, because we have pumps that have to bring water up to different levels. And if we can run them during the off-peak rates, that saves money, and we have staff that actively works on that.
And how about what do you guys do with the wastewater and solids that you remove as you treat the water? What does that?
Right. Our treatment plant is dealing mainly with liquids, and we do accumulate solids. Raw sewage coming in is about 99.9% water. The rest of it's minute amount of solids, but it's because there's so much of it. We have our solids are put aside for us after we've digested them as much as we can, and they're put in a truck and taken south down to the Molten Lake Water District, the regional plant by Laguna Lake Park. And you see the truck running up and down Molten, white cab and long tubular tank, and that's full of digested solids, and it goes in to be further treated at that plant.
Okay.
And then our liquids, too much of it, we believe, goes to ocean.
Right.
And we just as soon not that happen.
Love to see that get recycled too someday, maybe down the line. But let's break it down in terms of what the expenditures are on this $48.3 million. How does it kind of break down in terms of a pie chart or so?
Well, I don't know if you've got a slide that you can back up to, but it was the pie chart that was on there, and it showed where things went.
Right.
Right, exactly. So capital improvement, we have a brand new tool that we're using to predict useful lifetime of existing capital and new things, and we're really getting almost a 50-year projection on things. We have infrastructure in place that's been there for 60 years. Some of it we thought was going out. There's a slide up right now with the Aliso Creek lift station, which is in United, right along Seville and Aliso Creek. If that were to fail, the sewage spill into that creek would be environmentally
a disaster.
Yeah, catastrophe. And we're rebuilding, remaking that, and we've worked carefully to redesign it. There's going to be some impact, with controlling traffic and foot traffic, but it's going to get rebuilt, and so I think we're on a really good path. The issue again is paying for all these things we want to do.
Yeah, and then infrastructure and those are investments, and they have to be reinvested. And just like anybody's home, there's maintenance that a new home, it isn't new forever. So
exactly.
Those are just the realities of upkeep, I suppose. So the rate increase, this is the one that
This is the one
that gets people to the meetings.
Right. We're looking at across the board rate increase of about 8.5% this year and probably next. We'll be putting out what's called a 218 notice in April. This is April, May. And then we'll have some public hearings in July. We also have our community advisory group meeting that'll be meeting May 16th. And if anybody's interested in attending that, we welcome you. Come in and see us and hear more about us. But that's on the website. That's available. What is the impact on your water bill? That's really the bottom line.
Right, the bottom line is folks are looking at that in terms of what is this going to mean for me?
Exactly. And It's going to be about, per dwelling unit, about $4 to $6 per month.
Okay.
Okay? And because in Laguna Woods, we don't see water bills. You don't
Right.
see how much, and you don't see if your neighbor's using more than they
Right,
should.
right.
And there's simply no way to really monitor that. But that's the average cost impact is about $4 to $6 per month.
And the average water bill is around 58 to 78 or something like that, dollars a month?
In that range, 40-ish.
Okay. So a little, $4 a month, a little bit. Well, those are the realities, and that's the way it works.
And we have, I mean, our staff, General Manager Dennis Cafferty and our CFO Vishav Sharim, went through this in great detail. Then our budget committee went through it, and then the board went through it.
Right.
So it's pretty bare bones in terms of what we.
Right. It's definitely gone through the vetting process in terms of where can we save, where can we be okay, what can we make last longer, what's the lifespan, and so I know rate increases don't come willy-nilly. They're just throwing them out there because. So it's the reality of the operations and with the inflation and everything that's going on, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a big part. I mean all of us are living with that. The cost per. I've watched gasoline go up per gallon.
Oh, yes.
You know. So, I mean, $4 to $6 per month kind of pales in that, but still,
Yeah.
it's a real cost.
It's an increase and it's a real cost, but you guys are doing some good work over there. Mike Gaskins, Director over at El Toro Water Districts, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
When we come back, we'll be talking to the folks from the Republican Club. Stay with us.